Hello and welcome. Here we are again, the Marianne and Corinna duo. Tuesday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, as usual. And do we have a subject or a theme today? What is your anchor? And what do I mean with that? There is so much happening in the world. And I have talked to people who feel, I don't know what to do. I can't deal with this. And it's sort of like we get buffeted around, with all the emotions that brings, whatever is going on, brings up with our responses to it, the conversations we have, and so on. And so the anchor is a place that is something that keeps us stable within ourselves. I'm not seeing the anchor as a means of not moving forward or moving in a direction and to keep me stuck. No, it's an anchor, or you could also, what is my axis? As we have talked about, Marianne and I have talked about yesterday. So we stay who we are, we do not lose ourselves. And, I used anchor when I got the news that there is war. And I was wondering, so what can I do? And what I got was I can contribute the energy that is peaceful. And I decided to anchor that. And I actually used that word for myself in the earth through me, and then let the earth take it wherever it needs to go. No agenda on my part in that sense. But doing that, and doing that for a short moment, whenever I thought about it during the day, really anchored me, centered me within myself. And so that is the question that I have. What can each one of us do to not lose ourselves? Over to you, Marianne. What are you doing, or how are you dealing with it, or whichever way?
Yeah, thank you. When I was listening to you and I heard you saying for not losing myself or ourself, I can't remember because everything goes rapidly, but it was in that split second that came the question, yeah, but what if it's not only not losing myself, as for me, sometimes I go into my anchor, or as I call it more, my axis. It works better for me, and there
Mhm.
is no difference. It's only what's working better for me. That's it. But sometimes I'm going into there to look up what is true for me, as knowing that when I'm here, I'm linked with my highest point, as I can call it, and my lowest point. And I can call it my north, I can call it my south, I can call it my higher self, my lower self. It doesn't matter how we call it. It is, for me, a place, quote unquote, to go to sit still in, being present, and recollecting myself in a way. It's weird to say it
Mm.
like that, but that I can use this axis in two ways. As I be present there, and I can work, quote unquote, also because what is working. I can send out, for example, that peacefulness, that
Mhm.
unconditional energy of everything is okay and everything is, by that everyone is and
Mhm.
has existence. So I can send out that. And in the other way, when it is too moving around me, as I can get or catch a sense of losing myself, then I can also use that access to not only find myself or stay myself, but recollect myself also.
Yeah.
This is me. This is me. And I can repeat that in myself also. I am sometimes, who am I? And sometimes it is, this is me. I call in again, what is me? So I found it a multiple way to play with everything I am. Because truly, what is an anchor? What is an axis? As when I go back in time, and anchor was at that time more what I used, so often it sounds like anchoring from the middle downwards, or I anchor myself into the light, for example, and then it was
Mhm.
upwards. But is that the anchor we are speaking about? I'm not
Yeah.
so sure of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is interesting. Also, what is anchor? What is anchor? What is axis? How do you play with it, Karina?
What the image that comes up came up for me while you were talking is the axis connecting heaven and earth.
Yeah.
And what it is like you said, is it used to be that you either went up or you went down. And what if we don't separate?
Exactly.
If the image of the axis allows the connection between the two. And yes, from a word perspective, anchor is probably one that is quicker and easier understood than axis.
Mhm.
But axis is more, from my perspective, and seemingly from yours too, more descriptive of what actually is going on for us.
Yes. Yes, and it is also more expensive, as
Yeah.
somehow it is ease. The axis is immediately the line. Somehow the
Yeah.
line is there. And yes, sometimes when I explain it to other, I use a visual also of those dances around the how do
The
you call it?
carousel.
It's not a carousel. It's one. It's how do you call it? It's quite an intense. It's not dancing. It's they move
Oh, pole
around.
dancing?
That is it.
Okay.
That is it. That is it. Pole dancing. And they move around and they can go up and they can go down and they go everywhere as they can stick out their feet or their
Mhm.
arms. So they move literally all around it. And
That
that is what
axis.
I sense also when I
Mhm.
use my axis. Then I am that pole. It is there and
Yeah.
I can move everywhere without losing that anchor, that
It's
axis. It's always there. Whatever is touching me from the outside inwards, but also where I am reaching out to. I can reach out wherever I want to go.
mhm. Yeah.
how far I want to go, because there I'm always be me in that axis.
Yeah. And I think that is such an important aspect of uh, I wrote a blog post, and for some reason, one sentence in there just keeps popping up right now is when we are that centered, when we have that access, then we are both an island that doesn't get moved around and buffeted. And at the same time, we are intensely connected with everything that is around us and outside of us because we have our center, who we are as a person. Uh, and maybe we can't take it literally that we have this axis, but there is that center, and I am stable within that.
Yeah,
Even when the winds are blowing, whatever is going on, I don't
yeah.
have to step over here to catch my balance. I'm balanced within myself, and I'm able to perceive everything that is going on. Like, I was so amazed. I don't know when it was that the the war started, and I woke up and I was, what's going on? There is so much despair,
Yeah.
and I was keenly aware of that. And the despair was probably globally. I
Yeah.
don't even want to limit it to, oh, it's was the here or there or whatsoever. But that what I mean. We're deeply connected to everything when we are within
Yeah.
ourselves, when we rest within ourselves.
And there is the beautiful thing with the axis. You are present with that, in this case, the despair. And I can remember, because we reached out to each other how it was, and we switched a little messages. And it is that you are aware, you are present with everything. And I can sense that despair literally in my body.
Mm-hmm.
But it is not required to become that despair, because when I observe it from my axis, in my axis also I can choose. What am I choosing with this? What I am sensing,
Yeah.
knowing that it's not of me, from me, to me, it is there. And I don't have to fight it. I can move with it. And in that movement,
Mm-hmm.
I chose to be peace and balance. And because I was in my axis present, I can move and balance. And letting go, as you said it, it goes into the earth and it goes into the ether.
Mm-hmm.
So there are above and beneath, everything is moving, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to fall down. It is more when I contract myself and I react on it instead of acting, then it becomes more likely that something can break instead of
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
And this image, I see it with trees, for example. Especially those youngers, you can observe it even more
I
when it
get that.
storms and they go everywhere. But there is no doubt or resistance to not go with the wind. They go with the wind wherever the wind blows. And when it's over, they blossom still. And they are there, proud as what they are. So, is that what we can choose by choosing to be
Yeah.
present in that axis.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that is it's in a way that access the roots that the tree has that allows it to move and then come back to itself.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not losing itself. And that, for me, that's a beautiful image that is not only helpful for me, but I hope that it may evoke something in other people that uh, we can have an access or we can have an anchor, whatever word they choose. There
yeah.
is no right word, but what works for them, that there is always that place that we can come back to where we can relax because we know we can't lose ourselves. We will
Exactly.
always be who each one of us truly is. And as that, we can contribute, we are connected, we can relax. And
And is
it's
it
that relaxation that is also so important.
That's another aspect as well. But can I
Mhm.
add something about that losing ourselves? Because could it be that because of the reaction, because of the idea we have to defend something, to not lose us, that it is in that moment that we already
Have
go,
lost.
yeah, have lost because we go away of ourselves.
Yeah.
And then the contraction comes in because then we are lost
Yeah.
as when we know here where I am, whatever it is I am in that moment, I know I
Mhm.
am here in this axis. So I don't lose myself. I don't require to lose myself. I don't require to find myself because I be in this moment. And is that the true relaxation that both sides that leads us into the movement, and by the movement we can relax even more.
I like that image and I fully agree with it. Yes. And what you said is, if I react, then am I coming from who I truly am, from my authentic self? Or am I upholding an image now that I need to make sure I do whatever I need to do to uphold that, which automatically leads to needing to judge myself because have I done it right? Have I done enough? Was this good enough? Or whatever is going on in my head. But the moment I'm coming from image, I am critically involved. Let's put it that way. And critically always involves some form of judgment.
And this is interesting, isn't it? As bringing the image is coming up
Mm-hmm.
due this conversation. And at the same time, we mentioned that in this axis, I am. Whatever that is in that moment, I
Yeah.
am. So when we allow ourselves also to be whatever we be in every moment, then you you have to let go of images
You
because
have
isn't it
to.
that image is something fixed, is something, yeah, you collect there as that is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But what if in every movement I allow myself to be also something and someone different? Because as my body exists also of elements of the earth, even I can be something different and at the same time being different as my being, as my energy is different, as my vibration is different together with. So even this brings up now for me, is image related to the something? my body, the something, my energy, the something, my vibration. What is image?
Im, what I would say, image is a construct. It is not my or your authentic self. The authentic self can respond, not react, every single moment to what is required. And therefore, the authentic self has access to everything and
Yeah,
it picks what is required in the moment. And that doesn't move me, even though seemingly I'm a totally different energy, but I'm still me. I'm
yeah,
still my energy. I'm still my vibration. And as we know, you want to be image, you want to be loving, you want to be considered a nice person. That means I have to do A, B, C, D.
yeah,
And if I'm
yeah,
not doing that, then I'm not that. And therefore I have to judge myself because I'm a bad person, to put it to extremes.
yeah,
Versus if I'm authentic and I realize that right now a kick in the butt is required, then I can go there
yeah.
without having to judge myself, without losing myself, whatever. And I'm right back to where I am because it's me.
Exactly. And with that goes also how many images do we have?
Yes.
As we can have an image from the name, I
Mm-hmm.
am Marianne, and Marianne is blah, 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 blah. That's my image. But I can have an image from the body. The body of Marianne is blah, 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 blah. So that's the image there. But when I go with Karina, then my image is blah, 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 blah. When I go with my family, my image is this and this and this and this. So how many images do we, yeah,
You really have to complicate it that much? No, I fully agree with what you're saying. And it makes it complicated and
exactly.
stressful. It doesn't allow any relaxation.
And isn't it interesting going then with losing ourselves? We have so many images that none of them is who we are in truth. But
Yeah.
but with every image, we think we lose ourselves. We lose everything of us. How complicated is that?
Yeah. No, it's not complicated at all.
It can be fun. Which hymn is it today? In this 5 seconds? In this minute? So somehow it is, yeah, quite a journey to discover all the images we put on ourselves. And then not only the ones who we put on ourselves, we give ourselves, but all those other images coming from all those other peoples. And then the images we have about the world around us, about the world of the family, about the world of the friends. There are so many, many, many images that for me it is when I start to practice more and more and more, whatever it is I am here in this axis, I am. And I don't have to know what it is, as in knowing I can put a word or a picture
Mhm.
or whatever. It is a knowing. And let me be in this knowing, trusting that I know. So trusting that I know
Yeah.
also what energy to be, what vibration to be, which frequency to be.
Yeah.
Because could it be that we not only, hmm, and that's different, But could it be that we mixed up the different frequencies we be with the different images?
Possibly. And what I see then also being added is there are potentially images that we judge as good and
Mm,
images we judge as bad. And then
yeah,
we're back in judgment
yeah,
instead of allowing us to be who we are in this moment, to be the energy, the frequency that is required. Because the
exactly.
example that I brought before with, I have the image of I want to be a nice person, and a nice person does these things. A nice person doesn't kick somebody in the butt, even when that kick in the butt is actually an incredible contribution to that other person. I
Yeah,
can do it if I have the image of being nice. If I am me who is connected to the other person and contributing to the other person, then I can be whatever is required. I can do the kick in the butt. And when I see that that is, or perceive that that is not going to contribute anything, then I can also be totally quiet and not say anything or do anything.
exactly.
I can be in allowance of whatever the other person is choosing to do. There, it's so much broader.
Yeah,
And we have this tendency, as think I said last week, we have the tendency to go from white to black. Yes, no, good, bad, whatever the judgments are. But the reality is it's shades of gray. It's not white or black.
and at the same time, we can go to the point, most black point and the most
Most
white
white.
point,
Yes.
because they serve everything between the 2 points are really contributing to everything we are.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
it doesn't make sense to make something wrong, to make something right or good or bad. That doesn't make sense. But it is a contribution to know and acknowledge that there are truly opposites in contributing to be all the shapes, be all the frequencies, be all the
Yep.
vibrations. And that's another way of looking and going with
Not not
duality.
cutting not cutting off half of duality, the bad
Exactly.
half of duality.
Exactly. Because without duality, we don't exist. We
Mhm.
require duality. We don't require dualism, because dualism is when we put on the judgments
Yeah.
of the right and wrong, then, and that we don't require. But the duality is, yeah, make us exist,
Yeah.
make us exist. Um, so yeah, the axis, what is axis? What is anchor? I'm curious how people, yeah, points of view about what it is for them. And
Yeah. And how they, keep themselves stable and
mhm.
not being blown all over the place.
And when I hear you saying the word stable, for me there is a triggering. As when I hear stable, then nearly immediately I notice that there is coming up a contraction, as somehow I related stable with fix, as not movable, not not being in
Mm.
movement, but not movable. So this is interesting to notice that still there is something linked to stable, because what if stable is
Being
in
in the
truth
access.
the balance?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how I see it.
yeah. But it's interesting to noticing that with sometimes one word, when you go into a conversation and
Oh,
you are present with all those frequencies and energies, then you can catch yourself as,
yes.
oh, but somehow that is what I am choosing when I hear that word. But in truth, it isn't.
And that is something that I uh, just either last night or this morning, it was sort of like, oh, I'm not judging myself, but I am judging judgment. So I am judging.
Those things, those
And
things,
and that is what you refer to being present with, that we catch those things.
yeah, yeah,
I don't, for me personally, from my experience, nothing happens overnight. The, it is a journey of becoming more present, of hearing myself think, of catching the
yeah,
energies that are flowing through and saying, oh, this is what's going on, or
yeah,
that is what's going on. And in doing that, I can remain in my axis without being
exactly.
thrown over.
Exactly. Because a word is a word, but a word heard by family
Hmm.
over and over again with the judgment attached
And
or
yeah, on
the
top of
meaning attached
yeah,
can something completely different for the other one because they hear that same word in another context.
yeah,
So therefore it is beautiful to allow ourselves to be present and to catch what are we choosing with a
hmm,
word. Is that still, yeah, matching the energy I am aware of or that I know about of, or is it still matching with the energy I am now choosing here to
yeah,
be in the axis? And that is also the flexibility. That is where we can move with ease in going along with something or changing our minds.
yeah,
Because today this can work for me, and tomorrow it can
yeah,
be something completely different.
yeah,
And I'm not wrong, I'm not right. Also, it's not that I lose my trust. It's not that I'm not reliable. It's nothing about that. It is being present in the moment and catching with what is true for you in that moment, not making it the truth for everyone.
yeah.
Also, that, yeah,
And that may be the hard, thing to really get, that there we're so searching for the truth with a capital T, the absolute truth. And as far as I can see, that doesn't exist. There is what is true for me, there is what is true for you, for the other person, and the other person, and another person. And they may be totally different things, they may be the same thing.
yeah. And I would say, even what is true for me in this moment. I would even go further in this moment.
Yep,
Yeah. And that brings also back to who am I in this moment?
exactly. And can we be an allowance
Yeah.
of being a somewhat different person?
Yeah.
And if we all really look at ourselves, are we truly the same person 24/7, 365?
Exactly. It's
I
not
think
possible,
no one can be that.
as
I
nature isn't. As nature isn't.
well,
And even going with this example you are telling is for the listeners, even being present with their own energy. Ask yourself,
mhm.
am I the same from the start of this conversation and now?
You're
And that
really
it's only
shortening the
a
span.
few minutes, but I can notice for me that there is
Mhm.
again change. And I don't have to make it big or important or significant. It's not about that. It is that movement. It is that going on and choosing and choosing and choosing and choosing.
Yeah.
It, yeah. Is that the true being?
Is that authentic?
Yeah. What do you know?
Exactly.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm curious for next week what we will brew up.
Oh, me too. And I so enjoy our conversations on Monday morning, and then coming. What's the thread that goes through it? And
And then the day after, before we come live, is what were we talking about yesterday?
yeah, but I'm even still on Monday because it's not that easy to find that thread
Yeah,
that that
exactly.
is.
Yeah,
And yet, if we're willing to be present between the two of us, what I've noticed, we've always come up with one.
yeah,
We always found one.
yeah. That matches the energy truly of the conversation of what is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Hmm. So we are going to judge
Well,
ourselves. We are going to give ourselves an image. We are a good thing.
yes. So I hope you enjoyed the thought provoking conversation Marianne and I had today. And we'll see what we're going to talk about next week.
Next
Same
week.
time, same place.
Bye.
Everybody take care. Bye bye.